What's going on, Chris here? Welcome back to a brand new Lego Fortnite video, and today I want to do something a bit different and showcase some tips and tricks inside of Lego Fortnite, or basically my overall mind process when I normally make Legacy Fortnite videos, as you might find some of these tips and tricks just useful for your own builds. And yeah, just jumping right into it, there's several cool tips and tricks just to know when you get started with Lego Fortnite. I think some of these you may find useful, as some of them I did not know at the very beginning. For example, even though it says it at the very bottom, you can nudge stuff around. I don't know why it took me so long to realize this, but it did. I think I didn't find this out until like mid 2025. No, 2024. I don't know why I'm saying mid 2025 or early 2025. What the heck am I saying, Chris? Basically, what we're gonna do now is talking about some other tricks that you can use. I know you can tell how off track they got me. Another good trick that you can use now also with Lego Fortnite is that you can rotate things at 45-degree angles, which is very useful. Now, something they currently have in Lego Brick Life that they do not have in Odyssey yet is that you can do this on actual structures. You cannot do this on actual structures. Epic, it would mean the world if you add this to Odyssey, because it is in Brick Life where you can do 45-degree angles on builds, but sadly you can only do it on terrain. But another cool tricks that you may want to know when building is another good one for certain situations. You're going to see a good example of this later on in today's video, which is the thruster trick, which is used a lot by builders to give us the overall feeling to give things upside down. I think a good example I can just show is that, yeah, you can just do, once again, you're going to see a better example of it later on in today's video, but like, there's a lot of cool things you can do. And speaking of RAM tricks, here's some cool little building tips and RAM decor elements that I've used several times in the Legacy Fortnite series that you may find interesting. For example, the green chairs. Don't ask why they're here. I don't know either. They just follow me, it seems, ever since the one video from part 6. Yeah, they've been following me for almost a year now. It's honestly getting scary, dude. So over here we have basically this cool couch that's basically only used using these like beach yard gallery pieces. And the reason why I want to show this is that you can do a lot of sculpting inside of Lego Fortnite, even though we don't have like the necessary like Lego pieces like a 1x1 or a 2x2, or if you know what I'm talking about, like a tiny little stud or like basically a piece. We can still do some sculpting elements inside of Lego Fortnite, and this is a cool little couch you can use in some of your mansions. However, I do want to say when you're doing this, you have to be very careful, especially for your larger builds, as our worst nemesis called the build limit might strike you if you build too much in a certain area. When building, that's kind of the thing that I always have to keep in mind ever since I started doing larger builds since like part 5 and part 4 of the Legacy Fortnite series. I kept on hitting the build limit to like season 2, where now I'm having this kind of like nice little like limit as I'm trying to focus more on like smaller builds instead of making a larger city area, as it gives more time to add detail and kind of bring in more of the stuff that I want to do for certain builds, and kind of showcase more of the time and effort that goes into like individual builds, which is pretty nice. But always keep in mind the build limit. It will find you. It will hurt you. It will destroy everything you love. So over here you have some other cool decor bits beside that, but sculpting is a really cool thing. I know I'm starting to get sidetracked here, but seriously, sculpting is a really useful thing. I think I'm going to show a good example of sculpting too in a good minute before we actually show the example of the thruster thing, as it's actually just over there. Actually, it's over that way, so I can just easily show that in a second. But some cool decor elements that you can actually use inside Lego Fortnite is just some tips that I've used for the past few, like for a year now. Is over here you got what I call a Minecraft TV, which is basically using some of the foundation pieces here, and then you have like some of the majestic gallery floor pieces going up like that, and then you put a painting on it, and that kind of gives you a cool looking Minecraft TV. And over here you have a cool Pingola build, basically just using a table and two little tiny table couch tables. I don't know the exact name for it, but also you put a carpet on top, you got a little Pingola. And then over here you got a little ladder up here using fence pieces, which is pretty cool. And then you got like a sideways fence using basically a fence, it would be a ladder. But the reason I want to bring this up, because there's a lot that you can do even if you don't have Lego kits. There's honestly so much that you can really do, and I just want to bring this up here for you guys if you want to use some of these tricks for your builds, or just kind of inspire you to kind of challenge yourself to create cool designs with the pieces you have inside of Lego Fortnite, as I do that a lot with the multiple videos that I do. So I'm going to go over here to show you guys a good example of sculpting. So over here is a good example of building in general. There's two different things with this build that is really cool. So if you don't know what this is over there, it's my Fnaf free recreation, my last Legacy Fortnite video that I did. And basically what I'm going to talk about real quick is multiple things. One, how I normally get ideas for videos and builds in general, and basically just jumping into that little whole thing is the idea just normally comes to me, or sometimes when I don't know what I'm doing, I just go with the flow of things, which once again I'm going to showcase a good example of that later on. But it is normally just go with the flow, or sometimes I just have a random idea that comes to my mind, and I just say, the moon I mean basically ramble it go, pretty much. But over here you have this lovely recreation of Fnaf 3, and I think sometimes when you're creating builds specifically like this, there's multiple things that I think I find very useful. One is obviously reference images, or just like concept art in general. I think those are very good at trying to gather ideas for certain builds, or in general just trying to help get an overall idea where you want a build to look like, or just if you're trying to do a creation like this, you're trying to make it as accurate as you possibly can. I think reference images are definitely very useful for that exact reason. Concept art is also very good, especially if you're like me and you're like an artist and you want to kind of just jot down an overall idea what you want the build to look like. I'm actually going to see if Editing Chris just plop up some concept art from the Legacy Fortnite series, as there's a lot. Funnily enough, there's a lot of times where I make concept art before I jump into a build. It's a lot of fun. I sketch a lot of stuff, but the overall thing with this build is that it utilizes one of the favorite things ever, and as you see before, it uses sculpting pretty well to create this cool little Freddy head in front of the entrance here, as it is supposed to be a theme park attraction. With that being said as well, ambience is also a very good part of like where you want to put your build. Specifically like ambience where you want to put your build, like terrain, what type of environment you want in, will very help your build as well. Specifically for this is very unintentional, but it's always raining where Fazbear Frights is for some reason. No clue if this is a glitch, but since this is a haunted theme park attraction, it works. Now this build, and specifically as well, utilizes a design trick that I've been using a lot recently, which is level design. Is what I call it, basically. It's level design. And also, I gotta show you guys another trick of mine that I absolutely love, which is, I think the best way to show is basically using one of these, and you use a half piece here, like this, and then you create a cool little vent design, which is amazing. This is utilized a lot in my Fnaf videos, and it'll be probably used even more going forward, because we're doing way more Fnaf recreations in the future. But with that being said, this build utilizes level design pretty well. I think I'm actually going to show you that in a second. But there's multiple downsides to this. Obviously, if you're doing level design, one of the big things is that there's a lot of restrictions to the exterior. But at the same time, the same can be said about the if you're doing the build from the exterior to make everything combine inside the interior. There's limitations on both. And if you find the perfect like middle ground for it, then it works really good. I think the closest thing I got to like a good middle ground is probably like the Fnaf 1 recreation, or basically this build does a good job too. If you find like a good middle ground, it works. It looks amazing. It looks amazing. I love it. This build specifically I love too, and then of course if you look over here, you see like the secret Adam dude thing. It was actually from the original Fnaf 3 game. I absolutely love that. I just like pointing that out because it's kind of like an Easter egg in itself that I just like mentioning. But basically, level design is a lot of fun to use. Personally, it's really useful for me as it allows me to kind of mess with the interior a bit more. I'm gonna get out of the storm because it does mess with the audio a bit and YouTube compression. If it's anything like Minecraft. But it's very useful for that exact reason. For me, basically, I get to flesh out the interiors a bit more. And it's why I can kind of been incorporating that type of stuff a bit more inside of the Legacy Fortnite videos, and more specifically my builds in general. One of my favorite things I'm actually going to jump to right about now is how I mentioned before, with how I normally just go with the flow if I have no idea for what I'm doing. A good example of how I normally go with the flow of builds if I have no exact idea for what I want to do is 100% this build. And this build also has another good example of what I mentioned earlier with the like rocket launcher piece if everything loads. Wait a second, something's off. Something's off here. Wait a second, what the heck? Okay, there we go. So this is a good example of what you can do with the upside down rocket launcher piece. If you make builds upside down, which is this cool drawbridge design, which is using fences. It's all fences besides the torch. So you got like this fence that goes down here and it goes on this angle, and it goes slowly down and then goes back up to kind of replicate a drawbridge design. And then you have like the power gallery stuff going on the side here. You kind of have a rope bridge part of it. And it was kind of painful getting that together because you had to get like a 4-piece going under there and then following the whole thing around. But the final result was absolutely worth it in the end. And I just want to showcase this as a good example of stuff that you can do with the like rocket launcher piece. And honestly, I just want to showcase it because it's one of my favorite things ever. Another cool tip that I can give is also this like cool thing using the friendly neighborhood gallery, which is like kind of replicates like a stone pebble path, which I love. I just want to bring that up because I also love that design. But this build here, which is Dr. Doom's Castle, originated from just an idea of hey, I want to do like a pirate themed castle build, and this idea just was like when I started to get back into like Legacy and Fortnite building videos, stuff like that. I had a slight idea for what I wanted to do, but like I just did not know how I wanted to execute it, and I decided to just go with the flow. And most of the time when I just go with the flow of builds, I just go up layers like an onion, pretty much. Yes, like an onion, like an onion. But as you see, this build kind of just became its own thing as I continued going, and I absolutely love it. And this build is actually a good example of what I consider one of the best interiors I've ever done in Lego Fortnite. As you go down here, you have stuff like Dr. Doom's like bedroom, which uses these pillars, which you see once again down here, with like his actual throne room, which I'm gonna just showcase real quick. And it's like I did my best to try to decorate this like whole thing. I just love this room, man. I love it. There's just so much detail. It's just so much stuff going on here. And I can say the same thing here with like this recreation of like the room from Lego Marvel Superheroes. We have Dr. Doom saying, "Dr. Doom's Doom Ray of Doom." And instead of having pillars, you have like these things separating the wall, which I absolutely love. It is a subtle detail, but it makes the room feel like it's not just like a whole blank room. It just adds to it. And it's definitely like you have to like when building, especially interiors, you have to kind of think to yourself like how to bring this build to life and have like some characteristics to it to give it like a story like it's lived in. And I think this build is a good example of that. And also the level design thing. I think this build is definitely a good example of how like you can barely notice it, but this build is a part of the limitations if you do the exterior first and you're like, I want to do a level design technique inside of a castle. But at the same time, I love it. I love this thing, man. It's a fun build, and it's definitely one of my favorites. And I think a good example of another technique I want to showcase in builds is going to be in my survival world. So welcome to my Batcave, which is another great build. I absolutely love this thing. This took hours to make in survival, by the way. I absolutely love it. I just going to bring it up here. But this build uses sculpting once again to create bat symbols. I think sculpting is awesome. I can basically just show it better over here if you go to the back computer. Like, you can do so much with sculpting. If you, like, spend your time on it, you can do so much. And I just love making bat symbols in Lego Fortnite. I also like just drawing Lego, like, bat symbols in general. But, like, just making it here in Lego Fortnite, oh my god, it's amazing, man. It's an amazing feeling. And the thing I want to talk about is, like, this is a build I try to do, like, terraforming for the pieces we did in Lego Fortnite. I think I did a good job. It's amazing. I absolutely love it. But the thing I do want to get to before I end today's video is you can do also building for like cars and stuff. You have skeletons trying to shoot me as well. But over here you have like a cool design technique, which is I use in Minecraft a lot. Most of the time my builds use this technique. And there's a reason why I wanted to bring it up, because this build best like shows this off out of all of them. Because I did start doing this in Lego Fortnite with the X Mansion. But I feel like this build uses the best, and I'm very proud of it, is my modern mansion, the Chaos Mansion, as you would say. Right here, one of my favorite builds inside of Lego Fortnite. And I'm going to go to bed real quick so I can actually showcase this. But this build utilizes depth a lot. And it utilizes the like, kind of illusion of depth. And as well, it does have like a freaking layer system as well. Edge you kind of subtly see. But as you see, this build right here has like kind of like a depth thing going on right here. So you have like the first thing like this, and it goes to this, and it goes to the window. And you can barely see it from right here, but it adds a lot. And it's partially why I love this build as much as I do. Not just that, it's also the first time I create a really cool modern build in any sandbox game that I absolutely love. It is partially why I probably went away from most of the other areas that I try to create a brand new base at, if I'm being real, besides the Batcave. I love the Batcave. But I do want to show this off because, like, have fun, I guess. It's basically the overall point of what I'm trying to say. Express your ideas, and as long as you take enough time or you do your best to, I guess, try to bring your ideas to life, just have fun. There's nothing like stopping you from doing what you want to do. I guess, like, is have fun is the overall point of this video, I guess. I know I've been rambling, but like I hope some, if not most, a lot of these tricks might help you when coming up with ideas for builds, or just helping you with your designs as much as you can. Personally for me, there's like a lot that goes into making videos, or the builds. Both, actually, I guess. But I know I've been rambling a lot throughout this video, and I hope this take is a bit more coherent than the rest. But seriously, have fun. That's really what I say. Don't like overthink your builds, I guess. Just go with the flow, be you, as long as you're having fun, that's all that really matters. And as long as you're as proud as the final result, it's also really what matters too. And yeah, I hope that some of the stuff did help you. And with that being said, I hope you all have a spectacular day, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out, everyone.